All right. Hello, hello, hello. We'll get stuff started up here. How's everybody doing tonight? Getting everything set up. We're running a little bit late tonight, but you know, we're here. That's all that matters. Good to see you guys. Can barely hear. I haven't touched, but you'll be able to hear me. It's set up just normal. You can hear me going? I assume you mean fine. All right. You can hear me? Awesome. All right. Cool, cool. Where's everybody coming from today? Getting ready to rock and roll. What? I got some on TikTok that got suspended? What the heck? Crazy. Crazy. Hope everybody's having a good day. It's been pretty good here. I had a couple different appointments with different people across the country. That's not working like usual. Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. So we're super excited. We're going to be doing a meeting coming up here, July 23rd, meet and greet in North Carolina, in Durham area of North Carolina. Super excited. Right now we've got people that are like flying and driving from like all over the place. So I've heard of Michigan. Saw a flight from Los Angeles. We got someone driving from Chicago. A lot of people like coming in from all across the country. So we're like super excited. So it's going to be myself, Mental Healness, Bree with Abuse is Abuse, Dr. Carrie McAvoy. There's possibility we might have a fifth narc avenger that's coming as well. We're trying to see if Lisa from Stronger Than Before is actually going to be able to come as well. So we're super excited about it. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. It's going to be huge. We did not expect it to be huge, did not really plan it to be huge. The first one, we had about 30, 35 people. I'm predicting we're going to have like 100 people or more. So we're like super pumped, super excited about it. It's good to see you guys all over the country. Morocco, Florida, Indiana, New York, California, Cali. We'll be out in Cali sometime. So right now, the next one is North Carolina. The one after that, why are you not loading? Come on. The one after that is going to be Texas. So Texas is next on the agenda. It's actually, we're trying to lock in a date, but Texas is officially the next place that we're going to be coming. Officially, it is officially happening. So I don't have a specific date just yet, but I do believe we're going to be coming to Austin, Texas, coming up here in October. Super pumped. It's going to be really exciting. Anyways. Slowly getting set up here. It's taking a hot minute tonight. I was running a little bit late tonight. Yep, Brittany, we're coming to Texas. So we're going to be in Austin. I knew that for sure, and it's going to be sometime in the month of October. Do not have a date yet. Do not have a date yet. I don't have a registration link either. So July 23rd, Durham, North Carolina. Be there. It'd be awesome to see you guys. Let's see. There we go. It's the Honeysuckle at Lakewood in Durham, North Carolina. That's where we're going to be at July 23rd. It's going to be at least 4 of us, possibly 5. Super excited about it. Super pumped. The next one we do have is coming up is going to be in Texas. Super pumped about that. That is going to be in October. And those are the 2 that we have at least scheduled from now to the end of the year. And everything else, not really sure. So we've got a lot of stuff that's in the work. We're trying to get hopefully launched here within the next month, the actual Narc Avengers website that'll be launched. So you'll be able to have a one-stop hub to be able to see who all is involved in our group, who all is out there trying to be able to help influence, encourage people as best as possible, trying to educate people as best as possible. So we're working on that. That's super exciting. Just a lot of crazy stuff that's going on. So I'm considering looking into writing either a book or a course. That's in the works as far as thinking through that, looking on adding more people onto the team. Just a lot of stuff that's going on. So super excited to, just crazy. We're just super excited, period. Okay. So officially done with June. That was the first month. That was the first month full time with Raw Motivations, and now we're into the second month, and we're just super excited to see it grow as we help people grow, heal, and change. So we just passed, we're edging up on 4,000 people that have downloaded and logged into the Narc app. So if you haven't had a chance to be able to check that out, Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. We've got edging up on 4,000. I think we're around 3,900 as of tonight. Around 3,900 people that have downloaded, logged into the app. We've got coming up, if you haven't had a chance to be able to sign up on the app, we've got coming up here on Monday. What's today? Thursday. So yeah, on Monday coming up, we have our monthly coaching call, and that's going to be a Zoom event where you're able to log in, interact with other survivors face to face, be able to see everybody on there. We also have Bree from Abuse is Abuse that's going to be coming on, sharing some of her journey, but also what she's been doing in the healing process. She came out of a narcissistic relationship. She also had a narcissistic mom. So you get a lot of different perspective there. So we're super excited. She's going to be coming and bringing the fire in that coaching, the monthly coaching coming up on Monday inside the Narc app. If you haven't had a chance, download the Narc app, NARC, on Apple or on Google Play. Check that out. And then you can go under the premium supporter tab, be able to sign up for the monthly coaching. If you don't sign up, you won't get the Zoom link. So make sure you sign up. So once you're a premium supporter of the app, then you can just go on there. It's free to be able to sign up and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of stuff in there. If you guys haven't checked out the app, it's a good place to track your no contact, record your truth. We've got a couple of things that are going to be coming up. Spitballing, I've got a couple of different ideas that's actually going to be coming out with the app, different challenges, different things. I know one of them is going to be a no contact challenge. How many days can you log in and record your no contact to be able to get a free check-in, be able to work through, a bunch of different stuff there to be able to help you heal, grow, and change. That is the purpose of it. So anyways, super excited. There's a lot of stuff going on. Anyways, how are you guys doing tonight? See you guys from all over the country. Central Valley, Northern Indiana, Illinois, England. Yeah, it's 2 a.m. over there. Crazy. Virginia. Hello, fellow Virginian. Iowa, Fresno, New York, Maryland, West Virginia, Charlotte. Hey, if you're in Charlotte, you can make that drive over. Fairfax, Arizona. Hello, Arizona. How are you from North Carolina? I'm not from North Carolina. We're going to be down in North Carolina. New York. Trauma bonds are real. Yeah, they're no joke, that's for sure. California, Jersey, Dallas, all over the place. Awesome. Ireland, that's pretty cool. Cool. Anyways, y'all ready to roll? There's not too many people on tonight, but it's fine. We'll still bring the fire. Hey, I was just talking about you. I just said we have someone driving from Chicago. Here's the lady herself. Awesome. Super excited. Scotland. That's cool. Knoxville, Tennessee. Oklahoma. Melbourne, Australia. No, we're not sure. It's what, like 7 o'clock there? 7 p.m.? No, 7 a.m. Yeah, somewhere around there. Scotland, 2 o'clock in the morning. All right. Anyways, let's get rolling. Come on, let's throw in some questions. How am I doing? I'm doing okay. This week's been different. Holidays. Holidays don't jive well with narcissists because it's not all about the narcissist. So like, holidays can definitely be crazy. Can definitely be interesting. No, I'm just messing with it. It wasn't necessarily like the holiday, but we've had kind of like some ups and downs this past week of just like that shame. Like that shame is so real. That shame is so triggering, right? So like a narcissist, when you think of narcissism, like shame is that raging river that's like underneath narcissism. That's compelling a lot of decisions and thoughts and reactions and everything like that. And so like this past week, there was a moment in time where like in my relationship, like I had shame that got triggered pretty like hardcore. And as a result, like how I reacted was not the best way. Now, thankfully, like we're working through stuff and we're working through like how to be able to work through those emotions, how to be able to work through those responses, and we deal with those versus like sweeping under the rug or like moving on. But like, it's hard, like just because I'm self-aware doesn't mean it's like a piece of cake now. If anything, it's a lot harder. It's a lot harder, like seeing the tendencies, understanding, hey, this is what's going on, being frustrated about it because I'm like, I don't want to be this way. I don't want to act this way, but it feels like almost automatic sometimes. But piece by piece, we're going to change it. Are they ever really loyal, and can they really change on their own, or do you really need therapy? You really need therapy, and there's not really a chance they're going to change on their own. If they think they're going to change on their own, they're just bullshitting you. Do I do one-on-one conversations? Yes, I do. So rawmotivations.com, you can check it out there. Do you think you react way too fast? Not as much anymore, but yeah, there's still, the mindset is still very reactionary. The mindset is still very like, whoa, like, this is what I'm thinking, and how I need to respond to it is really important. First holiday in 6 years without him is awesome. Yeah. Can a relationship with a narcissist work after no contact? No, not really, because it's still about manipulation and control. Can you talk about active listening? Husband is a terrible communicator. So like active listening is making sure that you're like not just repeating what they're saying, but like you're engaged in the conversation. I think that's a hard thing for narcissists in general. It's a hard thing for our culture in general. Like it's hard for someone to engage in any conversation when they have their phone out and when they're distracted with everything else. Active listening is becoming more and more of a lost art, period. Are all narcissists pathological liars? I found out over 2 years of relationship, every single thing was a lie. Even lied about his aunt molesting him his entire life, his dad getting him into. A lot of narcs are very much so liars. I wouldn't say like they're all pathological, but it's basically that way. Does a narc put himself in a position to lose his job or be arrested just to have control over the victim? Yes, absolutely. Like that boundary doesn't matter to the narcissist. That boundary is a challenge, is a goal. Do narcissistic people fake injuries and illnesses or lie about how they got the injury? Yes, they do. Sometimes they'll do that to make them out to be the victim status or to change their status in your mind. They'll make all kinds of stories up to be the center of attention. Do narcissists ever truly feel remorse for their actions or remorse because they get caught in there? So they don't feel remorse over the actions. It's typically like, crap, I got caught. Let me go ahead and gaslight, manipulate to try to get out of the situation. Well, all of a sudden contact me after a year. You left the door open and they figure they can come back in either for supply control or just be able to mess with your mind. What kind of narcissist could be a criminal? A narcissist, period. Doesn't have to be a certain type. But the husband, 15 years, he cheated 2 years ago. He never acted narc until then. Is that normal? Sometimes there's like moments in a person's life that are like triggers that like reduce like the mask. So a lot of times that will happen. Knowing that you lie, how do you ever believe anyone else as a narc? Like, how do I believe that not everybody else is lying to me? I think with a lot of people, like when I communicate, a lot of times I can pick up on the lies because like I've been good at the lies. It doesn't mean I'm a walking lie detector. I did love the show like Lie to Me, as far as like seeing like how to see like what people are lying or when they're hiding stuff. I think that kind of stuff is like really cool. What can help to break the trauma bond immediately after a breakup? Can't go no contact because we share a 3-year-old. So first off, take the can't out. It is possible. It's not easy. It is possible. People don't like to hear it because they don't like, going no contact. They don't like getting to the place of saying like, oh, like this is actually what happens. There's several creators on here that are no contact with their exes, with kids, with multiple kids. They communicate through a third party app, through a nanny, through an attorney, through a lawyer, like anything like that. There's a lot of people that are no contact with a kid. It's not about always like saying that it can't. A lot of times there's a way, but it's like very hard. You have to be very intentional about it. The thing with that, like with breaking the trauma bond, then it is good to try to go no contact because that really helps out a lot. But if you can't go completely no contact or you're working that way, the biggest thing is acknowledging like the truth of the situation. The truth is what sets you free. Otherwise, you get stuck in that fog. Nose is going off. Tell me about alcohol. Does it make it worse? Yes, typically. A lot of times it makes the rage worse. A lot of times it makes them react worse. A lot of times it makes them even like honest. And the rage you see with the alcohol is actually the truth coming out. My ex wants to be very involved in helping the kids process their emotion. Can he be a narcissist? It's not typically something that goes along with narcissism, but I can't diagnose him. Do highly intelligent narcs often seek higher education, multiple degrees, especially in how their brain works? Possibly, but that's not a sign of narcissism. Are narcissists able to love their family, or do they view them the same as everyone else? Everyone else. My narc likes to remind me of how he crawled across the floor in tears begging. Yeah, no, it's pretty sad. A lot of times they'll do that just to be able to make you sorry for him, to build empathy from you so they can manipulate you even a little bit more. If a narc doesn't have boundaries, are they dangerous? Narcs is dangerous, period. Okay. Why does a narcissist cry when they have no empathy? Mine would cry. Oftentimes it's manipulation. That's a way to be able to try to control you, because if I cry, then that means you're going to be like, oh, he's crying. Like maybe I should stay with him. Maybe I should like work on this relationship. Maybe they are trying to change. Like, nope. Just trying to extend my stay in your life. That's all it comes down to. Do narcissists become obsessed? Absolutely. Super clingy? Yes, sometimes. Does X keep the pics? Said he deleted them. I'm afraid he'll share them with mutual friends. He's probably kept them, just to be honest. With that, you have to decide, like, hey, like at the end of the day, like you'll be able to bounce back from it, live your life. Said on one of your YouTubes that most narcs suffer from substance abuse, like alcohol and coke. Is this true? So a lot of narcs sedate with substance abuse, like alcohol, like drugs, like anything like that, because they don't want to feel the shame and the guilt of who they actually are. My husband refused to drink among me for years because he didn't want to ever slip about his cheating. No, yeah, that's very true. A lot of times that brings out that honesty in them. How can you have healthy boundaries with a narcissist if you can't leave? Well, first off, are you like chained inside the house? Because there's people that leave every single day. Am I saying it's easy? No. Am I trying to make light of it? No, not at all. But I also know people that have got their kids up in the middle of the night and have walked out and went to a homeless shelter because their mental, emotional, or physical safety was more important than locking themselves into an area of like, I can't do this. And you can't. Healthy boundaries start with you, start with what you're going to be willing to put up with, start with what you're willing to receive from that other person. How they communicate, how they respond to you, all that type of stuff. Married 30 years and hubby, I think, was a narcissist, but I'm beginning to think I am the narcissist. I think I have all the symptoms. Have I become one? So you don't become one later on in life. There's maybe different times where people get revealed as far as like the mask slips. Would love to talk to you and try to like have you like work through that. But a lot of times people think that they're a narcissist when they've been with a narcissist because the narcissist has been blaming them for such a long period of time that they're the problem. Why did my ex-narc get mad when he was told that he is a narc? Because he doesn't like get called out. Like a narcissist doesn't like being held accountable or responsible for any of their actions. So the fact that you're telling them that they're a narcissist, like that's not something they want to be able to hear. That brings out the shame, and that hits up against their mask of who they actually are. Are they ashamed of being a narc or proud? So there's shame underneath it, period. But some narcs, when they learn that they're a narcissist, are proud of it. Like, yeah, that's who I am. Like, so what? You know, a lot of times people think that becoming self-aware or like starting to learn about it is going to make them change. But a lot of times it isn't going to make them change. Just saw Roller Coaster of Love jump in the chat here on TikTok. If you guys aren't following her, feel free to check out her stuff. She's got some awesome content, and she just finished putting together a course that's coming out on the Narc app that you guys can be able to see. It's Healthy Dating After Abuse. Freaking awesome. She put together like this awesome course. Definitely check it out, but it's coming out on the 10th. Actually, if you're a premium support on the app, you can already check it out. I released it a little early to make sure that we worked all the kinks and any bugs out of it. But she just wrote a course, Healthy Dating After Abuse. For all of you that are wondering, like, what do I need to do now that I'm out of the relationship? What does dating look like now? What's like the next step? Is it safe? Like, what do I have to do? What do I have to establish to make sure when I'm getting into a new relationship, like I don't get screwed over again, or I don't get with another narcissist? Like, check out that course. It's like freaking awesome. She did a great job making it. It's already out there for people that are on the premium supporter tab. We just did that to be able to test it out, give you like first access. But it's coming out officially to everybody on the 10th. So in 3 more days, feel free to check that out. So if you don't follow her already, she's on all the platforms. So YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Check out Roller Coaster of Love. Okay. All right. Awesome. Just real quick, if you guys didn't know, July 23rd, Durham, North Carolina, we're going to be there. Myself, Mental Healness, Abuse is Abuse, Dr. Carrie McAvoy, possibly Lisa Stronger Than Before. I keep trying to say it. That way it forces her to come, but we will see. Also, Texas, all y'all Texans, we're going to be coming out there. Austin is going to be happening in October, just FYI. All right. Awesome. What other questions y'all got? My computer is like slowing down. Let's see. How do you think it's best to move forward after leaving? I know they're going to come back again. So if you know they're going to come back again, go ahead and close the door. Like, block them. Block them. Go no contact. Ghost. Make sure there's not a way for them to come back. A lot of people will be like, do narcissists always come back? 99% of the time, they always come back. Give it 1 month, give it 1 year, give it 10 years. Longest one I saw was a comment on the video. They said, try 25 years. Okay. A lot of times the narcissist will come back. So make sure you block. Make sure that you don't let them back in. A lot of times people think like, oh, it's fine. Like, they're not going to contact me. Maybe they blocked me. Maybe they left and they were mad, like all this kind of stuff. They still come back a lot of times. And people don't realize that as much as what they should. They just kind of like shrug it off. Like, no, a lot of times it happens. And then you're surprised. Will the triggers ever stop? So if you're talking about the triggers for yourself, like being in that relationship, the triggers only stop when you work on those triggers. Otherwise, those triggers are always going to be firing off, are always going to be happening, and they're always going to be there. That's what I work with people a lot of times when working with a trauma bond and like going through that whole process of how do we actually work on disassembling the triggers, disassembling the stories that you believe in your own life. The stories that you're telling yourself are what keep you stuck in that trauma bond. They keep you wanting to go back to the narcissist time and time and time again. I don't know what that question is. Why didn't it work if I broke down in detail? Not sure where that question is going to. Or they want to be on the sideline if their new relationship doesn't work out. Never really hoovered, but just posted a gift. It's been 6 months. Yes, I think it worked on them. Today, the narcissist in my life watched all your videos like he was curious. Why would he do that? Probably to learn so he can use the terminology to be able to abuse you more. How can I get away from my 16-year-old narcissist? I can't go no contact. So it's like a son or a daughter. Technically, they couldn't even get diagnosed to like 18, 21 because it would be more solidified then. But for like the narcissist in your life, like you need to learn to set boundaries, and those boundaries are for you. Those boundaries are for you to make sure that you actually work on your healing, growth, and change, and you don't let that person affect you, or you don't react to that person. Why they have multiple public social media accounts like TikTok, Insta, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter? Do they need approval? A lot of times narcissists do need approval. Normally they have multiple social media accounts so they can stalk people. Like normally it's multiple of the same one. He has nothing else but me, no family, no job, hasn't had one in 5+ years, no home. I want him to leave. We live with my parents. but I'm scared for his future. I don't know what to do. If he's already made that choice, then like his future is screwed up because of his choices, not because of you. And you need to focus on your healing, your growth. Otherwise, you're just going to keep letting someone pull you down constantly, no matter what. How do I react to his flying monkeys? Block them as well. And flying monkeys, if they appear to be friends or anything like that, they're not. It's just abuse by proxy. And so, like, you need to block them, get them out of your life. How can I learn to time the cycle of abuse? I still haven't recognized the triggers fully. The cycle of abuse, like, you want to know like when it's going to happen. To me, if it's happening, like, you need to get out, period. Does his intent matter more than how his actions made me feel? It may seem dumb. Oh, you might be responding to someone. Sorry. Why keep bothering the kids and I if they don't care about us? It's about control. It's about manipulation. How do I know if it's the final discard? It's the final discard when you ensure that it's the final discard by blocking and going no contact. Don't leave that responsibility up to the narcissist. So do I take all the debt and run or fight for the money in the divorce? He's an attorney. If you've given the narcissist money and it's not legally documented that it's yours, you're probably never getting it back. Can we talk about the effect of mental abuse has on the abused's ability to function in day-to-day life? Like how does the rumination, self-doubt affect people who are just trying to live their lives? Yeah, it's very debilitating. It's very, very much so at the place where it causes that anxiety, like weight gain, like all types of stuff that ends up like telling them like a story that they end up believing that ends up like limiting their mindset. And being able to break through that is like really hard. Yeah, it's huge. A lot of times we talk about how hard it is to be with a narcissist, and we talk about how hard it is to leave the narcissist. Very few people talk about how hard it is after the narcissist. The rumination phase, like the time of like when you start thinking like, wait a second, like maybe I did something wrong, like maybe they were right, maybe the abuse wasn't that bad, maybe I could have loved them better and actually changed it, maybe I could have, and all these thoughts keep popping up, and you get to the place where you're like, maybe I was the narcissist, when in reality, like, you weren't. You were put through a bunch of abuse that made you feel crazy, that made you feel insane. That happens so often. Is he hoovering if he asks about the kids? Does he ask about the kids and that's it? Or does he keep asking about other stuff that's not kid related? What happens when they don't get the control they want? Either obsession, either more abuse, or either they'll walk away. Is he already is that? Why do narcissists get in a relationship so quickly? So they don't have to be alone. If they have to be alone, then they have to sit with themselves. How do I get law enforcement to take action? Protection order has been violated and nothing has been done. You'd have to talk to I don't know what state you're in. You have to talk to like your attorney, your lawyer, to be able to see like what's actually going on and like what you can do to be able to enforce that. He says, I didn't mean to upset you, but I'm still upset that he won't accept that my feelings matter. Okay, I see what you're saying there. So like at the end of the day, at the end of the day, a narcissist is never going to be like, I meant to hurt you. Like that was actually my intent. I walked in the room planning on making you feel like crap. Like a narcissist is never going to admit that. And so an easy way to be able to avoid that and get away from it is being like, I didn't mean to hurt you. Like, what's your problem? Like, you're acting like I intentionally did this. Like, are you crazy? Like, we're married or whatever it might be. Like, no, the intent without follow through is nothing. Like, I intend to be a good person, but I'm going to keep abusing you. Oh, well, it's the intent that matters. No, bullshit. If narcs are avoidant of shame, why do they continue to be abusive other than control? Is it a compulsion? If they're avoidant, so they're avoidant of their own shame. And if they can give that shame to someone else, that's easier than dealing with their own shame. So like, think of it this way. If I have shame in my life, I'd rather take that and either do one of two things: either box it up, compartmentalize it, and shove it to the side, so I never have to deal with it. I never have to acknowledge that I have shame in my life. Or I'm going to box it up, put a nice little bow on it, and then chuck it at your face. Because I want someone else to feel ashamed so that I don't feel ashamed. At the end of the day, I'm not going into the relationship or going into the argument being like, I'm going to beat this person up so that they feel ashamed and I don't feel ashamed. Narcissist doesn't think that. All they think is like, it's almost like a hot potato. Like, I just care that I'm not the one holding the shame bucket. Like it has to be you. So I'm going to pass it off. Now, if that hurts you, then, that's whatever. Okay, think of it this way. I used this illustration today in a one-on-one, and I liked it, so get to share it with you, okay? Imagine that there's a car, okay? There's a car coming at us. So you and me. I'm the narcissist, obviously, okay? There's a car coming at us. That car is going 50 miles an hour, okay? And on the front bumper of that car, it's labeled guilt, shame. And that car is speeding at us at 50 miles an hour. I'm standing in front. You're standing behind me. And as that car is coming, I look at the car and I see the guilt and the shame. And the only thing that goes through my head is jump out of the way. So I jump out of the way and that car runs over you. At the end of the day, what matters to me is that I didn't get impacted with guilt and shame. I don't care of the ramifications or what caused it or what happened after that, of you getting run over or of another person getting hurt. The only thing that's going through the narcissist's mind in that moment is I have to be able to avoid guilt and shame. That accountability, that responsibility, the thing that's barreling at me that feels like death. It feels awful. And to have guilt and shame looking at me square in the face of being like, hey, if you engage with this, it's going to change your life because you're going to have to admit who you actually are. You're going to have to admit what you're struggling through. You're going to have accountability. And so I jump out of the way and the car runs over you. And then you have all the guilt. You have all the shame. Sometimes I might give the car a push because I don't want to see that. But at the end of the day, what matters to the narcissist is to not engage and not experience that guilt and shame. If that means it hurts other people, it doesn't matter. It just means that it didn't hurt me. Because the narcissist doesn't want to feel that. Okay? Awesome. I'm glad that makes it clear. There's an illustration I thought of as I was doing a one-on-one today, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. Do you want to hear the other illustration? I had another one about the narcissist mirroring love. Sorry, guys. Think of it this way. Everybody asks, can a narcissist love? And everybody's like, but it felt like love. It seemed like love. And we've all heard like narcissistic, mirroring, things like that. But I want you to think about it in the concept of love. Okay? So what you're going to have, I don't have a flashlight here. Actually, I probably do. That's dead. Nope, here's none. All right, so here's love, okay? All right, love is the flashlight. You as a person are taking your love and you're shining it, okay? You're shining it on the narcissist. The problem is the narcissist is acting like a mirror. And so all that love is being shined towards the narcissist. I love you. I'm here for you. I'm loyal for you. I'm excited for our relationship. It seems like the best thing ever. You're fulfilling all my thoughts and desires. You're checking off all the boxes. And they take that, the empath or whoever, let's not label people, but the other person in the relationship takes their love and shines it on the narcissist. The thing is, when they're shining it on the narcissist, it gets reflected back at them. And when it gets reflected back at them, you're like, oh my gosh, they love me. They're empathetic. They're vulnerable. They're all this kind of stuff. And you see that and you're like, wow. What I want to ask you is in the relationship, did the love that you see, was it actually true, genuine love from the other person, or is it a reflection of what you were giving? Because oftentimes people in the relationship think that the narcissist is giving love when the narcissist is just regurgitating the same stuff that you're putting out there so that they can appear more human. So they can appear vulnerable. So they can appear like they have those same emotions exuding from them that make you fall in love with them. Of, wow, this person's really empathetic, a great listener, and super vulnerable. No, they just mirrored the stuff that you were putting out there. That was the second thing that I came up with today when we were doing one-on-ones. Okay. But yeah. Do narcissists want to be loved? Do they want real love for themselves or just control? There's an aspect about narcissism that's looking for ideal love. The problem is they're looking for ideal love, thinking that all the problem is on the other person and it has nothing to do with them. Ideal love is not going to be something that a narcissist can latch onto because they're not truly loving themselves. They're not getting to a place of self-reflection, self-analogy to be able to figure out what's actually going on and changing their lives. How do you get rid of a narcissist for good? Block, ghost, no contact, order protection, move, disappear, new identity. Think they just love the way you love them. It's an ego. Yeah, absolutely. You want to trip up a narcissist? Ask them, why do you love me? Been a couple of videos I've done, been a couple of videos that people have like stitched and have been like, holy cow, that's so true. Ask the narcissist, why do you love me? And then your mind just like keep an idea. Like it can't be about your body. It's got to be something more. Because a lot of them are very shallow and they don't come up with anything. Yep, it's very true. Right there. Because of everything you do for me. That's what a narcissist loves about you. Like, I love the fact that you love me. I love the fact that you put up with me. I love the fact that you're still here. I love the fact that you make me feel better about myself. I love the fact that you give me supply. I love the fact that you still stay after I've cheated on you. I love the fact that I can abuse you. Like, that's literally what's happening. Someone said, I did ask. He said, because I love you. Oh gosh, I had a one-on-one today with a couple, and I was like, "How are you going to change?" He was like, "Well, I'm gonna try to communicate better." I'm like, "Okay, how are you going to try to communicate better?" Well, I'm gonna say nice things. I'm just like, couples, I get more aggressive. I was just like, stop bullshitting me. I'm like, you're wasting. You're like, literally, it's like wasting our time. Like going into a relationship saying like, oh, I'm just going to treat them better. Like, okay, like, let's just sign off and say like, hey, you don't care and nothing's going to happen. Like, unless you can actually come up with a plan. And like, I'm like beating around the bush, like trying to ask like different questions. And there's never a mention of getting into counseling or therapy or a coach or anything like that. It's just like, oh, I just got to be better. Like, no shit, Sherlock. Like, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be here. But, you know. So I normally tell people, like, don't go to couples counseling. Like, I believe that if you're with a narcissist, don't go to couples counseling. Couples counseling is just ammunition for them to be able to use against you, be able to further abuse you. They'll storm out. They'll blame you. They'll do all these type of things. They'll go home and be like, hey, like, this is your fault. And at the same time, I also offer couples coaching. Okay. And honestly, like, I love it. I love it because I'm able to sit down with people and I'm able to see it in front of my eyes. Like, I talk to them and I see typically the husband, sorry to generalize, but I'll see the narcissist, I'll see the narcissist gaslight the other person like in the moment. I had like one, sorry. I had like one session where like the other person started gaslighting in the moment, like saying like, hey, this didn't happen in the same conversation. I'm like, no, it actually did happen. And then they started like turning around, like trying to like confuse me. And I looked back at them. I was like, don't try to bullshit a bullshitter. Like, I basically like have written the book on how you're trying to argue with me. And like, it's not going to work. Like, what was it? Like, we started, like, the argument, like, came up and it was about, like, a time thing. It was about a time thing. And the person was like, look at the time. Look at the time right now. Is that reality or is that your perception? I'm just like, dude, I'm not engaging with you. Like, this is just stupid because you're arguing to try to be able to break down the argument piece by piece. Because if you can try to prove one iota of an argument that's incorrect, then the whole argument's incorrect. That's how narcissists fight. So, like, that's the black and white thinking. Like you're great throughout the relationship. Then you get to the place where you do one thing wrong and, oh, you're dead to me. Narcissist fighting a lot of times is very technical. Yeah, well, your whole point is wrong because I didn't cheat on you on Tuesday. I cheated on you on Monday. So therefore you're the idiot for bringing like seriously, like this stuff is like crazy that they'll be so specific of like, well, I can't get in trouble for that because that didn't happen that way. That was 6 years ago. No, it was 6 days ago. Like, we need to actually like get our stuff right. I get aggressive in couples coaching. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's nothing really like holding me back. It's just kind of like, all right, let's go. Because like sometimes it's like crazy. Sometimes it's crazy. I had one person like in the couple session. They look at me and they were like, okay, well, tell me, what is a narcissist? Like, let's walk through the steps. Let me see. And I was like, no. I was like, do your own dang research. I was like, I'm not going to come to the table and tell you the 9 characteristics so you can identify with one. You can say you have traits of 2 others, and then you can tell me like, oh, that's not what I am. Like, I don't really care if you say that's not what you are. Your partner has that perception based on your attitudes, actions, and behaviors, and that's what really matters. And if that's not something that they can live with, then they shouldn't be living with you. I've told people in couples coaching that, like, if it continues like this, they need to leave. Like, I don't know. It's probably like taboo of like, you're not supposed to do that. But like, I am. Like, I'm not going to like bullshit around. Anyways. Side note. Little rabbit trail. Where we at? What we got? I've been ignoring a lot of comments. Sorry. We'll catch up here. Someone asked about cognitive dissonance someplace. I don't know where you are. I think it was YouTube or something. Hello and thank you. So cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance is what happens to the people that narcissists abuse. Okay? Just to clarify, in case anybody's confused on that. Cognitive dissonance happens to the people, the victims of the narcissistic person. Cognitive dissonance at its base level is my actions not matching my words. Okay? How this breaks down in a romantic relationship. Some of you guys have probably already heard this. Bear with me. Breaks down a romantic relationship. I look at you and I say, hey, I love you. Then I slap you in the face. Then I say, I love you. And I slap you in the face. Then I say, I love you. And I slap you in the face. And over a period of time, you start to think that either 1, that's what love is. Either 2, that's all that you're worth. Or 3, in order to get to love, I have to go through the pain. And the cognitive dissonance that a narcissist puts you in a place of dealing with fog. What's the fog? Some of you guys who have been around should know this. What's the fog? What does it stand for? What happens is the narcissist takes you, walks you out in the middle of an abandoned field. And as you're standing in the abandoned field, the things that start swirling around you are the fog, the fear, the obligation, and the guilt. Thank you, Brittany. And they put you in the middle of the field, and they put the fear, the obligation, the guilt around you, and it starts to fog. It starts to cloud up your life so that you can no longer see straight. Now you're standing out in the middle of the field with these blinders on, and you can't see what's going on. You don't understand what's going on. And the only thing that you can hear or that you can vaguely see is the narcissist. Because they're in control of that chaos. They're in control of the fear, the obligation, and guilt that they put you in there. Thank you, Carlene. Appreciate it. Like, they've put you in that spot. And as a result, they can start to direct you. They can manufacture your emotions. They can direct your reactions. They can put you in reactive abuse. They can select which way you're going to go. They can isolate you from your friends, from your family, from the people that are closest to you, because they've put you in that fog. People ask about like trauma bond. Trauma bond is when you're in that fog and you can't see straight. You can't see out of it. Trauma bond is built on hope, potential, cognitive dissonance. We just talked about cognitive dissonance. The hope and potential is like thinking maybe they'll change, maybe they'll get better, maybe they'll understand, maybe they'll feel my pain. All that stuff doesn't happen, but that thought is there of like, maybe this will happen. It's never happened before, but maybe in the future, because they keep promising. So feel. Is fear, obligation, and guilt that's keeping you stuck in the middle of the field. At the very least, being directed of which direction you need to go by the narcissist, because they're controlling, they're leading, they're focusing which way you need to go. So all of you are probably asking, how do I break out of the fog? The only way to break out of the fog is through truth. and the facts of the situation. The facts of the situation will set you free. You've heard the truth will set you free. The facts are literally just the cold, hard truth of the situation. You think he loves you? How is he demonstrating love? You think she cares about you? How is she demonstrating faithfulness? You have to go back and step back from the emotional and the feelings aspect and be like, wait a second, if I put this on a board, how does this person actually match up in demonstrating the qualities that I want in a partner? So when I work with people to get through the trauma bond and to break the trauma bond, you know what we do? We break it down piece by piece to get to the story that's underlying what they're thinking and what's compelling them. That means we have to get underneath the emotions, we have to get underneath the feelings, and we have to figure out what is the story that you're telling yourself that's keeping you in that fog. And when people start to understand, hey, this is the story, now let's match it up. Let's put it on trial and let's say, what are the facts? What are the facts that either prove or deny the story that you're telling yourself? And as you go through, you write down the facts, and all of a sudden you're like, wow, these facts don't support my story. What happens is when I break it down with people, when we go through, so I do this in like coaching, like one-on-one, when I go through and I break it down with people, all of a sudden they realize the facts don't support the original statement, or it majorly shifts the statement. That original statement either gets shifted or obliterated. And then we have to go through the facts, and we have to say, hey, what's the new story that we need to believe? How do we rewire our mindset based on the truth, based on the truth of the situation? It's not enough for you to know the information. It's not enough for you to understand cognitive dissonance. It's not enough for you to understand trauma bond. You have to actively be able to change the thought process. Patricia, thanks so much. It's good to see you. The thought process. That's why I talk about rewiring the mind, rewiring what you're thinking, what you're believing, because otherwise you will trip up and you will go down the rabbit hole every single freaking time. Why? Because you get triggered, you experience emotions, you experience feelings, and that's what you change your perception, and you go down the rabbit hole and you get to the same exact story you've always struggled with, which is why you go back time and time again. The people that don't believe, how many times have you gone back? Average time to get out of an abusive relationship is you have to leave 7 times. That's the average. There's some people out there that leave once. There's other people that leave 30 times. The trauma bond is real. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to get out of it. Do you think I'm just making a sale? Then don't come to me to break out the trauma bond. I help people do that. If you think that's what I'm here for, like, okay, forget that. Like, go to my resources, go talk to Lisa Stronger Than Before, take her course, Breaking Out the Trauma Bond. Like, there's people out there that want to be able to help, but you have to be careful to understand and know that you're actually working with someone that knows their shit. There's countless people that go to psychologists, that go to different people, and they sit there and they still haven't broken free. Like, some of the people that I talk to are people that are in counseling, they're in therapy, they're working with other people trying to be able to get it, and they haven't figured it out because they haven't changed the story. You have to be able to take off, to put away that thought that's going in your head, but you have to be able to replace it with something. If you don't replace it with something, your mind is empty to be able to write whatever story you want. That's dangerous. Because then you look back on the relationship and you're like, it wasn't that bad. You look back over the highs and the lows, and as you look at the highs and the lows, the only thing you can see is the tops. You can only just see like the highs of it, and you're like, you know, the abuse wasn't that awful, you know? Change the story, change your life. Absolutely. You have to be able to rewire the mind and be able to change the story that's playing in your head, or else that same story will play on repeat time and time again, and you will always go back. Are you tired of going back? Are you tired of that pull going back? reach out. I'd love to be able to talk to you. I'd love to be able to help you break out of that trauma bond. When I work with people, I work with people in 3 sections. I work on breaking out of the trauma bond, helping them get out of that mindset of, I know this person is toxic, but I still want to go back. I work to help them get through the rumination phase, that's limbo land, where you're detoxing from a narcissist because you're like, wait a second, maybe I'm the narcissist. Maybe I'm the one who did the wrong. Maybe I caused them to be this way. Maybe I made her cheat. Maybe like all this kind of stuff goes through in this area. And then the third aspect is future vision and values. How are you going to live your life intentionally, putting in good triggers, putting in good habits that set up good boundaries for yourself? Boundaries are for yourself, just a tidbit. Boundaries are for yourself, not for the other person. How do you set up boundaries to make sure that you don't go back with a narcissist? And how do you set up a boundary so you don't get with another narcissist? If you want to talk anytime, go to my website, rawmotivations.com. Do one-on-ones, do coaching there. We'd love to be able to talk to you. If you guys are out of the relationship and you're like, wait a second, what do I do now for like dating and like moving forward? Roller Coaster of Love. If you don't follow her, she's on all the platforms. She's got some great content out there. She just released a course that released to our premium subscribers on the Narc app. It's actually coming live to everybody here in 3 days on the 10th. That is Healthy Dating After Abuse. She's got some fantastic stuff. Yeah, Brittany, good example. So I'll give you like 3. She asked, like, can you give me examples of your wife's boundaries? Okay, so number 1, don't cheat, or she's gone. Number 2, don't treat her like shit, like I used to, or she's gone. Number 3, don't stop changing, healing, and growing, or she's gone. Okay, those are the 3 that I know of. So you might be like, what? Like, you don't know all your boundaries? No, because if you're with a narcissist, they shouldn't know all your boundaries. They shouldn't know all your goals for them. Why? Because narcissists are great at checking boxes. You give me a list, I can be the perfect person for you. You give me a list, and I can check them all off and be the idealized person that you want in your life. Narcissists are great at checking boxes. So what do you do when you're setting up boundaries and goals with a narcissist? You do the same thing. You go through and you think of 6 boundaries, 6 goals that you have for your narcissist to change. You're like, wait a second, is my narcissist changing? How do I know if they're actually changing? Set up 6 goals, 6 boundaries. Okay? Write them down. Understand what they are. Those boundaries have to be like SMART goals. They have to be measurable. They have to be quantifiable. So that means you have to be able to look at that boundary and say, did they meet this boundary? Yes or no? Did they stay in therapy for 6 months? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Yes, they did. Like, it has to be quantifiable, has to be measurable. You're going to come up with 6 of those, 6 boundaries, and you will communicate at a max. You will communicate at a max 2 boundaries. The other 4 boundaries, / goals that you have for your narcissist, you will take to your grave and you will never communicate to your narcissist. You're like, why? That doesn't seem fair. When it comes down to it, you're not going to communicate all your goals, your boundaries to the narcissist because they'll just check the boxes and then go back to manipulating you once again. What you're going to do is communicate those 2 because you want to see what is the next step. So like if I'm talking with a narcissist and I want to be like, how are you growing? How are you changing? What is your plan? If you don't have a plan, then you don't care to change. Now, it's one thing if people are like, well, I don't know how to have a plan. Okay, tell me, what do you think we need to do to first have a plan? Like we can walk through it, and I'll walk through it with different people, but at the end of the day, like, it has to come from them. If they don't really care. Okay? His apology cannot be trusted, right? His apology can't be trusted if it doesn't follow with change. An apology without change is just manipulation. My narc called my boundaries the 10 commandments. I only ask, don't lie, cheat, steal, do drugs, or lie. That's awesome. Hold fast to those 10 commandments and then leave. Learn the hard way. He just doesn't care. Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of people think that the narcissist will care when they understand or when they're self-aware. It's not always the case. He wants to change. You got to prove it. Person can want to change all they want, but if there's no actions, then wanting does nothing. Trying to think of like a good way to sum it up, but I can't think of one. Okay. Can narcissists change without therapy? No. What's their karma? I'm broken and he's happy with his new supply. Part of his karma is that they're living with themselves. And that they're going to be stuck in a cycle. Other part of their karma is they're not free. They're addicted to their cycle. They're addicted to their impulse and compulsion, and that's why they'll keep doing it. Another part of their karma is they'll never have a clue of where they are in life, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in any type of maturity way. And they'll never grow. They'll never heal. They'll never understand how to do that. A lot of times when people want like the karma, they just want them to pay. Or when people think of like closure, their version of closure is they just want the other person to admit what they've done. Now, can you protect yourself financially? Make sure stuff is your name. Don't combine stuff. Try to make sure that you're really careful. They're not truly happy. Yeah, that's for sure. I recently left the narc. He moved on, but he's still lashing out at me. He didn't move on. He's with someone else, but still trying to manipulate you. Is narcissism related to alcoholism? No, it's not. Narcissists will use alcoholism and drugs to be able to sedate how they feel. Why they change a couple months at a time and they go straight back to the same behaviors? Because that change isn't coming from them. It's typically manipulation, gaslighting. New supply is his old supply, the woman he had an affair with while he was still married to his late wife. A lot of times they recycle people. Do they recognize their worth when they hoover? No, 100% they don't. They don't care about your worth. They don't view your worth. Otherwise, they wouldn't keep doing it. Are they aware of how they're treating us? They're aware that they're causing the pain and they hurt. They just don't care because they'd rather do that than have themselves be hurt. Co-parenting advice: use a third-party app, communicate through a third party, set up a good custody agreement. Talking Parents app, Our Family Wizard, We Parent app, Close, Civil Communicator Service, Unbroken Home app, Onward. Here, maybe I think it'll be backwards. But if you take a screenshot, you can flip it. If you can read my writing. I think YouTube is like the only one that's like, you can read it probably. Next, I met in addiction recovery. Yeah. Can a narc genuinely attach to someone? I kind of want more info. If you're talking about a narc becoming like codependent on another person, then no. If the narc is older, 46, in your new supply, would they keep you in the harem garage or just let you go completely? They say narcs are worse as they age. Yeah, they're worse as they age and love their harem garage. So I wouldn't think you're getting out of that unless you block and leave. I'm sick of focusing on him. I just want to know how to heal through this no contact. He has also blocked me and the rejection really hurts. It's hardcore. Absolutely. Focus on understanding the truth and then working on your healing, growth, and change. How to move on without closure. Okay, so closure doesn't come from them. Okay, number one, because you're not going to get closure from a narcissist. Narcissist is never going to come up and be like, hey, I'm sorry because I did all that. No, a narcissist isn't going to admit that they're wrong and not going to give you closure. Okay, so for everybody out there that's like, I just want closure from the narcissist, it's not going to happen. Okay, so just think of that first. Second thing, closure comes from you. Okay, because let me ask you, when you think about closure, when you think about, I want closure with a narcissist, how does that play out in your head? It probably plays out, maybe you sit down for coffee, or maybe you get to the place where you're like, hey, why did you leave me? Well, I left you because I didn't care about you. I left you because I wanted, like, how does that play out in your head? Ideally, what you want typically in closure is you want the other person to agree with the actions that they did. Again, a narcissist is not going to do that. A narcissist is not going to agree, oh, by the way, I did cheat on you. Yes, some do. I'm not trying to make a blanket statement. I'm just saying, like, they're not going to agree or admit the things that they've done. So when you're looking for closure, you're trying to latch onto the other person admitting what they've already done. The problem is you're dealing with a liar, manipulator, a person who gaslights you, and the cognitive dissonance is so real, a lot of times you're not even be able to process that or figure it out. Closure comes from you. Closure comes from you sitting down, looking at the facts, looking at the situation, looking at the truth, looking at the behaviors, looking at how they demonstrate all those different attributes and all those different actions in the relationship, and saying like, hey, this is the truth, regardless of what he says, regardless of what she says, it doesn't matter. This is the truth. That is my freaking closure. Because closure is you being real and you being honest with yourself, saying, hey, this person did this, and I can't stay in this type of relationship. Let's talk about closure and labels. If it comes down to it, who freaking cares if the label's narcissist or not? If they're a cheater, if they're a liar, if they're an abuser, whatever you want to call it. Like if they're manipulating, if they're going through all those different things, at the end of the day, what are you willing to sign yourself onto? What are you willing to agree to? What are you willing to allow in your life? The problem is a lot of people don't set healthy boundaries in their life with another person, and they let someone walk all over them. Other people are like, well, I set boundaries. They just didn't listen to them. Okay, all you set up was a speed bump. They're like, hey, slow down a little bit before you run me over. That's all you did. Because a boundary without a consequence is just a speed bump that the narcissist is going to continue to roll over you time and time and time again. If there's no boundary with a consequence, there's no fallout. There's no like, so what? Like you set a boundary, that's cool. I can still break it because I know nothing's going to happen. That's why a narcissist will test you, will bait you, will walk up to the boundary, will tap it, will blow through it, will walk up and get super close to the boundary. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Just to see how you're going to react. And when you don't react, when you don't hold them accountable, when you don't give them a consequence, they know you actually want it or you actually will allow it. That means I can keep doing it. Is it better a present fathered narcissist or an absent? Absent parent is better than a toxic one. He asked me to take care of him post-surgery, and he's talking to someone. I don't take care of him after surgery. Took a one-on-one with mental illness. He suggested journaling, and it works. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a great trauma bond reflection, like journal, self-awareness, like journal, self-love reflection journal. You can get those resources in my bio. If you click it, you can click like there's a resource tab right there. It's from Lisa Sunny, Stronger Than Before. She's got some awesome stuff there to try to help. Why won't he give me a divorce? He's comfortable. He's comfortable in the chaos. And as a result, he'll drag it out. Maybe it's because of money. Maybe it's because of kids. Maybe it's kind of image. How do you handle narcs at family events? Like, I don't even want to look at the dude and his flying monkeys. Might be a family event that you don't need to go to. We got something that's just not going down today. How can we prove someone is narcissist in court? The problem is most courts don't really care. You got to prove abuse. Got another narcissistic relationship right after the first one. Honestly, a lot of times it's because people don't take time to heal, to grow, to change. They run into the next relationship. Do they know what they want? My narc ex says he knows what he wants. That's with his new girl. No, they don't know what they want. They're just always looking over the next fence, thinking the grass is green on the other side. Why is he suddenly doing all the things I've been asking him to do for a while? Probably because you're getting ready to leave, or you've mentioned something about it, or you realize that the gig is up and you're actually going to hold a boundary, or you're calling him out. Narcissist doesn't change at the end of the relationship magically. Like, did you hear that? Like, narcissists don't change. Narcissists don't change at the end of the relationship magically. A lot of times people get so confused about this and they're like, oh my gosh, I told him I was going to get divorced, and all of a sudden everything's changing. Like, all of a sudden, all the things that I wanted in this relationship all of a sudden are coming out. Like, they're treating me so much better. They're doing all this stuff. They're taking care of stuff. They're communicating, all this kind of stuff. Like, you need to wake up and understand, like, this all didn't magically change this last second. It didn't happen that way. What you need to understand is how devious and manipulative this actually is. What it actually means, listen up, okay? What it actually means is, all of a sudden at the end of the relationship, when the relationship is on the line and they start fulfilling all your wants, needs, and desires, what that actually means is they knew it the entire time. The entire relationship, they knew what to withhold from you to keep you there and to keep getting supply. And at the end, they realize, oh crap, all my manipulation is not working currently because they're actually serious about walking out the door this time. Let me change it up and pretend to change so that I can keep them a little bit longer in their life. And then when they get ready to say, like, no, I'm leaving, be like, can't you see I'm changing? Then they make life hell for you afterwards. And you're like, but I did everything you asked. I changed. I went to therapy. I got better. Like, what's the problem? Can't you see? I'm trying. I'm working. Like they'll say all this type of stuff, but it's all manipulative. And too often people buy it at the very end. They're just like, oh my gosh, like, it's magic. No, what's magic is take the relationship off the table, walk out, ghost them, and see where they are in 5 years. Okay. Why am I still talking about this? 1, because I'm a narcissist. 2, because this is my channel. 3, because narcissistic abuse is freaking real and people need to understand it. That's why I'm on this channel, to bring awareness, growth, healing, and change. Will they be in the exact same place in 5 years? Typically the exact same place or worse. Narcissists are just going to magically change. They're going to continue the cycle time and time again. I don't care where they are in 5 years. Yeah, you shouldn't. Work on you. Work on you. During the discard, I was crying to him to give it another go. He said, you won't like the new me. I think he meant the real him without his charming facade. Yeah, absolutely. Does a true narcissist get worse with age? Yes, typically. As a step parent, you need to learn to let go of the kids too. They use them to get to you. Narcissists don't care about kids. They're props in their facade. They're props in their play. Got into another narcissistic relationship after the first one. Is it common? Yes, it's common. And unfortunately, not to be rude, but unfortunately, it's because you don't take the time to heal before you jump into another one. Do they pretend to be better off with a new person, but they really are not? Absolutely, 100%. This is why we tell people to go block and go no contact, because the next person that comes into their life, the next person that they throw up on all social media while they didn't put you on social media at all, the next person that's there is part of their play, is part of their production that they put on to confuse you, to manipulate you, to make you think that you're the toxic one. I would always call him out on his BS and the lies. He started calling me aggressive and too much. Yeah, because you're holding him accountable. Hates that. Only communicate through lawyers. Yeah. Sadly, I have to parallel parent, and he looks like the good dad. Yeah. Parallel parenting. Look it up. If you're co-parenting with a narcissist, you're really not. You're probably parallel parenting. You need to look up the best way to be able to do it. If you're going through divorce or a custody battle, listen up. If you're going through divorce or a custody battle, a couple recommendations from people is don't use gray rocking going through divorce and custody battle. Use what's called the BIF method. Brief, informative, friendly, firm. Okay? Use that method because it helps so that in a court system, you don't look like the disconnected parent who's like abusing by not communicating. Okay? You have to keep your boundaries. You have to make sure you're strong with those, but you also have to make sure that communication still looks like you're still engaging in an appropriate level. Okay? This is a tip. Once you get out of the divorce, once you get the custody agreement, once it's all locked in stone, like block, go no contact, ghost, like everything. Third party communication, third party drop offs, like everything. But like to get through, make sure you take care of yourself, because when you're going through a divorce and it has kids in it, like that's the only thing that you can save. Forget the money, forget the house, forget anything else. The only thing you can think about in that moment is, how do I keep the kids engaged with a healthy parent versus being with a parent who's going to minimize their feelings and emotions and is going to discount them. Okay? Does a narcissist respect you when you set boundaries? No. Narcissist, all right, boundaries real quick from narcissist perspective. Narcissist and healthy, ready? Narcissist views boundaries as prison. It's you controlling me. It's you limiting me. It's you saying I can't do something. Like, why would you be so mean? A narcissist views boundaries as prison. A healthy relationship views boundaries as protection. And that's the difference in the mindset. Okay? He blames me for having told him to be a bad person for our entire relationship. It makes me crazy. He makes me feel like the evil person that justifies all he's doing now. Like, a narcissist will use anything and everything to justify what they're doing. Can I record this? It'll be on YouTube. Check out YouTube, Raw Motivations. It'll be up on my YouTube. You can check it out there. We're on all 5 platforms at the same time right now. I have to remind my heart that he is dead and gone. Will never know the taste of my love ever again. When you get away from the narcissist, it's like grieving someone that's still alive. I left my narc husband 8 years of marriage. A year and a half ago, I met someone new who's not a narc. Can I heal from the past abuse while dating someone new, or do I need to be by myself? I normally coach people to be by themselves to make sure they walk through their trauma and their hurt and their grief. I don't say that to put people in like a bad state where it's unhealthy for them, but I do say like you have to work through it. So oftentimes when you get into a new relationship, you minimize what's happened. You minimize the healing that needs to happen. So many times when you jump into a new relationship, you don't become the buffalo that runs into the pain and works through it. Be the buffalo. Because you know you have to work through it. You have to work through the pain. Sorry, my sinuses are acting up. It's because of the garage. I think the garage is like got something in it that's making me stuffed up. How long do you recommend to stay single? I don't have a specified time. I wish I had a good formula. Let's say if you're with a narcissistic relationship for a year, sometimes that can feel like 10 years because the manipulation and abuse that gets packed in there. Okay? So let's say you're with a narcissist for a year, I'd say a very minimum 6 months. Okay? And that's 6 months of not talking to someone. A lot of times people are like, okay, I'll be single. Text. Like, I'll be single. Let me go date this person. And what they do is they push past it. Like, you can't go past the pain. You can't go around the pain. You can't go over the pain. You can't go under the pain. Like, you can't get away from the pain. You have to walk through it. And one of the first things you have to do is admit what it actually is. A lot of times people look at it and they don't want to admit, like, they don't want to admit the shit that happened to them because it's filled with also that guilt of like, wow, I shouldn't have stayed. Like, wow, like I feel dumb for being in this relationship. Wow, like all this kind of stuff. And they start to beat themselves down time and time again. But you have to look at the truth of the situation. That's the only thing that you can do to build a way out. So many times people are like, I just want to be how I was, or I just want to be that person again. I just want to do all this kind of stuff. You're never going to be that person again. Like, hear that loud and clear. You're never going to be that person that you were before the narcissist because you were uneducated, you didn't understand, and you hadn't gone through this abuse. You're never going to be that person again. But you do have the opportunity of transcending and leveling up to the next person that you were meant to be, to the next person that understands what narcissistic abuse is, that understands gaslighting, manipulating, lying, and is able to identify the red flags, move forward in your life, and say, hey, this is me on my road of healing, growth, and change. But the first step is you have to acknowledge where you are. Doesn't mean it's easy. Oftentimes you look at where you are and you're like, wow, this is awful. Like, I hate the fact that I'm here. I hate the fact that I wasted these years. I hate the fact, and don't let the self-talk beat you down, because otherwise you'll beat yourself up being like, I'm stupid for staying in the relationship. I'm an idiot for it lasting this long. I can't believe how ridiculous I was when I stayed in this relationship. Take away all the action of it, and all you just called yourself is stupid and idiot and ridiculous. That's the negative self-talk that keeps you in a negative mindset and doesn't help you heal, grow, and change. You have to be able to change that thought process, change the mindset, and say, hey, this is where I am. It sucks. This is where I am. This is where I want to be. This is the place I want to be. This is the level I want to be. This is the intention. This is the feeling that I want to experience. Now, how do I get there? The only way you can get there on the roadmap is you have to identify where you are. You can't get to the direction you're going. You can't get to your destination if you don't acknowledge where you are first. And the majority of the time when people move into a new relationship, they skip that aspect and they're like, I'm just driving to the next person. I'm going to drive and heal at the same time. And the problem is they start doing that and they don't actually take the time to heal. They don't know which direction they're driving. And oftentimes they drive straight into another narcissistic relationship. Okay? So the plug is, if you want to come, North Carolina, Durham, July 23rd, to be able to see myself, Mental Healness, Abuse is Abuse, and Carrie McAvoy, you have to know where you are first in order to get to that destination. Okay? It's coming up. We're excited about it. North Carolina is next, July 23rd. October, Austin, Texas. We don't have a date yet, but it's official. We're coming to Austin in October, meet and greet. You probably have at least 6 Narc Avengers for that, maybe even more. I'm not sure. You ever think about getting your PhD in psychology? Haven't. I actually had someone message me the other day and was like, I should teach this on a college level, because just how I break it down. We'll be getting other places. But right now that's the 2 things on the books. Oh, that's cool. We haven't seen spam on YouTube in a while. Yes, I have cheated on my wife. Welcome to my channel. Goodbye. Sorry. Haven't seen YouTube spam in a while. They're amazing sometimes. I love it. Sometimes they'll go through and they'll spell out, he's a narcissist. He's a cheat. No shit. Did you not watch any of my videos? Obviously not. Anyways. May I ask, Angela, thank you for asking this. You say, may I ask, I'm a professional in behavior analysis, but I still got duped. As a major public figure, it's so damaging personally. So, Angela, first I want to say, thank you for asking that question, because that takes a lot of humility, and it also tweaks a lot of shame and guilt of how did I miss this? There's a lot of people that miss it, that are very intelligent, that are highly educated, that know about all this stuff, and they still miss it when it comes to it. I've talked to people, I've done one-on-ones with psychologists, with people in clinicals, with people that study behaviors for a living, and they come and they talk to myself, they come and talk to Lee, because they've been in a relationship with a narcissist that they didn't identify. Probably the biggest thing, almost word for word, that every single one has communicated with me whenever we've talked in one-on-one sessions. They say, we've learned this in school, but it's never looked like this in person. Like they understand it on like a textbook level, but seeing it, studying it in the wild, that's completely different. The thing that you have to understand as a narcissist grows, matures in their manipulation, they get to a place where it is a high level. It's an insane high level of making sure that they know how to control and manipulate you. There's no stuff. When you think of it, like a narcissist is very manipulative in how they get with you. They're also, they work on grooming you. If you haven't had a chance, watch my YouTube video, Narcissists Groom Their Victims. Okay. I explained it one time on a live, I think with Lee, whenever we were talking through this, of how do we put this together, of how are we going to build a connection. So a lot of times it's easy to build a connection in a work environment because you're interacting with these people like constantly. This is how you see a lot of narcissists that pick up people and like cheat and stuff like that in the moment. I'm so much. Thank you much. Thank you so much. Like these people fabricate this stuff. So like think of it this way. I'll try to give you, I'll give you like a fictitious, but like a real life example. Okay. You and I were walking down the street, walking, having a good time, talking. We're like friends. Okay. We're walking down the street and all of a sudden you trip. You trip on something. You don't bust your face. You just trip. It's a funny moment. It's embarrassing. It's like, haha. Then we keep going on. We continue going. We meet up with a bunch of your friends and we're standing there talking a little bit later. And I make a comment that goes back to that incident of you tripping. Now, what that comment does is it immediately connects us in one way because I'm saying it in front of your friends. I'm saying something that's like, hey, we experienced something together. It was stupid. It was small, but we experienced something together. What that does is it puts in the friend's mind, wow, they just shared something. Like even on a subconscious level, like they just shared something. And then with you, it builds a connection point. So then the next time I see you, I'm going to be like, be careful you don't trip. Like a stupid example, but that's how you break it down on like a base level of how a narcissist can come in and like manipulate. It's like taking flirting, taking like getting to know someone, and it's taking it to a whole nother level maliciously of like, hey, how can I construct this to be able to breed this connection? The thing is, over a period of time, narcissists will end up almost gaslighting themselves, and they believe that that's love, or they believe that's what I need to do. So like I thought there was times where I was connecting with people that's how I was supposed to connect with people. I didn't realize until I actually like broke it down or even like went through Psychopath Free and like saw like how narcissists groom their victims and I did videos on it. But like I didn't realize that was intentionally what I was doing a lot of times, but I was putting a different label on it. Like, oh, that's how I, get connected to this person. Establish a common bond. I establish something that connects us and then I feed off of that. Okay. Okay. So someone asked, why would a narc want to help people? Oftentimes a narc inside that relationship, so like say they're not self-aware, say they're not changing, oftentimes a narcissist will want to help people to have a hero or like a savior complex. Because if it helps their image, if it helps them look better, a lot of times they'll be like, they'll help the old lady across the street, they'll help take out someone's garbage, not you, but like someone else, so they can appear a certain way. I'm gonna sneeze. We got everything going on tonight. Gosh. Well, if you decide to stay single forever, I do feel like I don't want marriage or kids, and people, and especially my family, pressure me to be in a relationship. Please answer. What's the question? If you decide to stay single forever, then you decide to stay single forever and be yourself and know that the family pressure you into being in a relationship. My ex loved to fight bullies after being the biggest bully. Did you ever have the narcissist that saved you from themselves? It's like, let me create drama. Let me create a giant thing and then save you from it. And then I'm the good guy. Let me get you thrown in jail and then I'll bail you out. That way you're like, oh my gosh, thank you for getting me out of jail. Not acknowledging that I'm the one that threw you in jail to start off with. Everybody's like, yes, yes, yes. Yeah. It's easy to save people from problems you create yourself. Do narcissists know or realize that they are narcissistic? Typically, they don't have that label, that idea. They know that something's wrong, or at the base level, they know that something's weird. They also have an idea of like what's actually going on because they change their behavior around different people. Can being a hero or a good person be part of the love bombing phase to get you hooked? Yes, absolutely. There's a blah, 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 it's everything. Yeah. Are you still in counseling, if you may ask? Yes, you may ask. No, I'm just kidding. I'll answer. Yeah, no, I'm in counseling now for been like 17 months, going on 17 months now. And that's weekly, every single Wednesday. So I had my counseling session yesterday. I've only missed like a couple times, like being out of town, but sometimes we've been able to do like Zoom and stuff like that. What happens after they know you figure them out? Typically, the rage and everything will get worse. Sometimes they'll leave. Do narcissists feel guilt? Yes, it's quick and microscopic. Are they paranoid? A lot of times they can be paranoid. What I've noticed is a lot of times when you have more paranoia in a narcissist, it tends to be on more of the covert side. Which I think, I'll have to check. I think I have a video coming out tomorrow on YouTube on covert narcissism. I think it's tomorrow. Don't quote me if it's not. If it's not, it's still coming out. It's in the queue. Does narcissists sometimes feel as if they're a sociopath? Yeah, a lot of times narcissists are a sociopath. Why would mine tell me over coffee that I had Stockholm syndrome? I was so confused because he was blaming me on having Stockholm syndrome. I mean, that's like ultimate manipulation, ultimate control. Like, hey, you're in a trauma bond with me, just FYI. And then you're like so confused. Yes, YouTube is the same. So I'm the same on all platforms. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, raw motivations. Twitter is like nothing. So it's pathetic. But do you warn your victims? I was told you're too good for me, you deserve better, if it keeps coming around. Yeah, a lot of times narcissists will do that. It's called baiting. It's called testing the waters. Yeah, I have kids. I have a 3-year-old daughter. Literally hiding in the garage so you can't hear me listen to you. Stay strong. Let's work on your exit plan. Why does he maintain a relationship with my family? Subconscious flying monkeys, control, manipulations. You still know he's still around, all that kind of stuff. Why they smirk and giggle when you cry in front of them? Because they know they just manufactured a response out of you. Is narcissism rooted in the fear of your insecurities? Yes, along lines of shame. Shame's the raging river underneath the narcissist. Absolutely. Microscopic guilt, yep. How about religious narcs? What about them? What do you want to know about religious narcs? Unhealed childhood trauma is related to narcissism? Absolutely. Narcissism you normally have developed through abuse, through trauma, through overbearing parents, or over-enabling parents. They have a lack of emotional maturity, and they don't know how to process guilt and shame. Do they know why they're like that? No, they're typically lying to themselves. Super groomers. Yeah. Covert narcs comes from what? Trauma? Yeah, a lot of narcissism comes from trauma. Just wondering this, I've heard a lot of narcs can be secretly gay. Is that true? Somewhat. What I've seen, what I've experienced is the narcissists that also struggle with a lot of like sex addiction and stuff like that tend to get to the place where they get bored. And so they end up being like bi, or they end up like going out and other stuff. Is my wife also in therapy? Yes, she's in therapy like twice as long as I have. Does she ever join you live? Every once in a while. She actually like thought about popping out, but she might already be in bed now. But what trauma exactly? Abandonment? No, abandonment would be more along the lines of borderline. Rejection kind of bounces between the both of those from what I've seen. He noticed a random guy yelling at a girl is rude, but yells at me. Like, why the disconnect? That's a good question. I'm trying to figure out like how to how to describe that. It's almost like the idea of like splitting, like what I'm seeing doesn't apply to me. Like, is that entitlement piece of like, I'm entitled to this, like I can cheat on you, but you can't cheat on me. It's really like disconnecting. Yeah. Why am I only attracting narcs? Now that I know narcs, I'll never know. What? I'll never never unknow is light and dark. I'm drawn to them at first because they're probably mirroring my light. So typically when you think you're only attracting narcissists is because you might have an unhealed trauma or stuff that's going on in your life that's leaving that door open for them. A lot of times when people are attracting narcissists, it's because they don't have boundaries and they're unwilling to actually set those boundaries, so they keep going back. Sometimes having unhealed trauma in your past, say a narcissistic parent, or a parent that you ended up being like the fixer for, will end up having you be that person for another person. The problem is you have to be able to acknowledge that, figure out what's actually going on, the story that's going in your head. You might be drawn to them because of the love that they're reflecting, but it's not always necessarily like this light or like, oh, I want to be like this person. I think too many people think that narcissists are drawn to you because you're an amazing person. Narcissist doesn't freaking care. Like too many people think that it's about them. It's not. Like so many people get confused about this. Like, why did they leave? Maybe if I'd done something different, like, was it my worth? Was it something I did? Like, at the end of the day, it had really nothing to do with you. What it had to do with, it was about the narcissist, what they wanted. I think sometimes narcissists can sense when doors are open. Okay? I know in learning about it and learning through therapy and putting it into practice and understanding it, there's times that I interact with people and I know certain doors are open. Maybe it's an emotional door, maybe it's a sexual door, maybe it's an unhealed trauma door, maybe it's a fix-it door, whatever it might be. Sometimes you walk up to someone, you talk to them for like 5 minutes, you're like, that's something, like, as a narcissist, that's an in. Like, I can step through that and I can manipulate this person. Other times, like now, like understanding and like being able to see it, like I see that sometimes, would be like, that's a door that's open. Like, I'm going to step away because I know my tendency is to step through that and control it. Or like that could be something very toxic very quickly because that other person has something that's open there. So you have to work on healing and growing yourself. You don't want to be attractive to a narcissist? Set boundaries. Grow yourself to be confident, to work on your self-worth, to work to know, hey, that person does not define my worth. That person does not define who I am. Let's talk about self-worth. Let's talk about your worth as a person. So many times people go through a narcissistic relationship, they get out and they feel worthless, right? Like, you probably feel crazy. You probably feel worthless of like, why did this person discard me? Why did this person throw me away? The problem is you get to the place because they have been manipulating, controlling you, and manufacturing emotions in your life. You get to the place that you identify your worth as being that person. Your worth is not put in another person. Your worth is innate. The problem is the story and the thoughts that you're telling yourself. You've heard the diamond illustration that I've said. You have two different types of people. You have a person that picks up the diamond, polishes it off, puts it on display, and says, isn't this amazing? compliments it, shows it off, is excited about it. You have the other person that takes the diamond and throws it in the mud and walks over it because they don't care. The thing is, the diamond didn't change the worth that was innate. The person dealing with it did. Your worth isn't changed by the abuse you've gone through. But it can be set. I read this quote in a book the other day. It says, optimism will not always get you the win, but pessimism will make sure you don't get there. Your self-talk is so freaking important. And for all the people that look back on themselves and they look back on the things that they've gone through, watch your self-talk. Because you know what you're going to say? I was so stupid for being in a relationship. I was so dumb for dealing with it so long. I feel like such an idiot for putting up with that. Take away all the actions. All you hear in your head is stupid, dumb, idiot. Your self-talk is so important. And it comes back to rewiring your mind, to changing the story, to changing what you're believing, interacting with, and helping yourself grow, heal, and change. But it starts with you. Starts with you being the buffalo, going into the pain and working through it. Can't get around it. Can't move past it. You can only go through. Question is, are you going to go through the pain, or are you going to run away from it? If you guys want to talk sometime, rawmotivations.com. You can click the link in my bio. New course is coming out on the 10th on the Narc app. You can download it in Apple or in the Google Play Store. Healthy Dating After Abuse by our own Ro Fay, Roller Coaster of Love. She's on all the platforms. She did a fantastic job on the course. It's coming out here in 3 days. If you're already on the app or a premium subscriber, you can actually go ahead and access it now. Super excited for it. If you guys haven't had a chance to download the Narc app, we're almost at 4,000 people. 4,000 freaking people that are trying to work on their healing, growth, and change. Get on there, write down every single day, record your truth, help ground yourself knowing this is what actually happened. Keep track of your no contact, log in every day, because I'm not asking you to go no contact for a year. I'm not asking you to go no contact for a lifetime. I'm asking you to go no contact this hour. Tonight. And then tomorrow. Don't look at no contact and be like, it's impossible, I can't do it. Look at no contact being like, hey, this is me trying to work on my healing, growth, and change. And if you don't go no contact, you will get sucked back in time and time and time again. Unless you change that mindset, unless you rewire that mind, you will get triggered. Your emotions, the feelings that you attribute to those emotions will take you down the rabbit hole. Will take you back to the same spot, will leave you in a trauma bond, will keep you going back time and time again. You share a child with no contact. Third-party app, third-party drop-offs, communicate through lawyers, communicate through email. One thing that's on my list is actually to do like a co-parenting / parallel parenting course one day. Because there's a lot of tips and tricks out there. And there's some tips and tricks that there's creators out there that can't even share publicly because of what they're in, legally. And it's stuff that I want to be able to partner and even learn from them to be able to put in a course to be able to help educate other people of how to do that. Okay. I'm working on it. So the next thing that's on the list is either a course or a book. We're kind of knocking around a couple different ideas. I was talking to Lisa today. We have an idea for a book. We have an idea of a title for a book. We'll see. I don't know. I'm interested. I'm excited to see what actually comes. So yeah, we'll see. If you guys haven't had a chance, we're going to be in Durham, North Carolina at Honeysuckle at Lakewood on July 23rd. Be there or not be there. Either way, we're going to be there. Myself, Lee Hammock, Mental Healness, Bree with Abuse is Abuse, and Dr. Carrie McAvoy. If you guys don't follow any of those, follow them, period. But if you guys don't follow Carrie McAvoy, PhD, she's freaking amazing. She's on all the platforms. Her platforms have actually been starting to like blow up. And like she's like really smart. Like I learn a lot from her, but she's also like actively doing research about this stuff on a day-to-day basis that's just like on the edge. Like it's like brand new stuff. Like if you want to like learn new stuff, like she's like learning new stuff. Dr. Carrie with a K, Kerry, and then it's Kerr, McAvoy, McAvoy. Hope you got that. There you go. Yeah, Carrie McAvoy. She's got some awesome stuff. Is it called the Narc app? Yep, it's called Narc. NARC. Just type in Narc into Apple or Google Play. It'll pull it right up. If you don't know what it stands for Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. Like that. Super original. Came up with that all on my own. But yeah, we're super excited. Inside the Narc app, we go live every Monday night. The Narc app, we go live every Monday night. It's exclusive, secured live, so it doesn't get broadcasted out there. So you can come on screen, you can ask questions, you can deal with stuff that you're dealing with in the present day without worrying that someone else is going to find it or see it. We also have monthly coaching. We got monthly coaching coming up this coming Monday with Bree with Abuse is Abuse. She's actually going to be coming on, sharing a little bit of her story, but then also sharing her active steps to healing. She's been with a narcissist. She was in a narcissistic relationship, and she had a narcissistic mom. So she's coming to the table with a crap ton of really good information. We're super excited. My dad says the Narc app title makes it sound like we're ratting to the cops. You're ratting to the truth. You're ratting out the narcissistic abusers. That's why we have it there. Narcissistic Abuse Recovery Community. That's what it stands for. Yeah. Trying to think what else be able to share. Like that's all the updates coming up. So the Narc app with the healthy dating after abuse. July 23rd, we'll be at the Honeysuckle at Lakewood in North Carolina at Durham. Any Texans in here? Austin, Texas, October. Don't have a date yet. Narc Avengers are going to be coming there. If you guys are curious, if you follow all of us, just type in the hashtag Narc Avengers. You might find some more people that you haven't been watching yet. It's officially 16 of us now. We just added a new person just recently. So we're super excited about that. But there's 16 of us. And yes, we all have our own nicknames. It's kind of funny. I labeled half of them, but yeah, we have all of our nicknames as Narc Avengers. It's kind of funny. Some based on personality, some are chosen. Sex addiction, is it a common feature? Barely. I think a lot of people think sex addiction is common with narcissists more than what it actually is. That's my own personal opinion. The reason why I think that is because for a narcissist, it's a lot easier, nicer, and justifiable to say, oh, I have a sex addiction. That's why you got to keep putting out for me, than it is to admit that they're a narcissist. The Narc Avenger that I am is Doctor Strange. It's like anybody in the Marvel Universe. Lee is Iron Man. His personality fits it. Carrie McAvoy is Captain America. Oh, what is Bree's name? It's on my phone. What is Bree's name? Crap. Now I can't think of it. Put me on the spot. I can't think of it. I mean, there's 16 of them to remember. He admits he has a sex addiction. Yeah, it's a lot easier to say I have a sex addiction than I'm like a, manipulative asshole. So a lot of times, like I actually went to like I got shipped off to a sex addiction intensive. My wife and my boss like sent me to it, and that actually helped me understand that I don't have a sex addiction. I have narcissism. So it kind of showed me a little bit more. The website should be coming out fairly soon. We bought the domain name narcavengers.com, but it's not up yet. Whenever it is, I know we'll have the people on there. Is there a place for narcs who want to recover in the app? No, the app is not meant for narcissists. But yeah. Anyways, we're wrapping up. Hopefully everybody caught some of those updates. If you didn't get a chance to watch most of the live, feel free to be able to double check on YouTube. So you can go back on YouTube, Raw Motivations, click on my lives. You can kind of see this whole live, every live that we've done is up there, is recorded. Every Thursday night we're here. It is called the NARC app, NARC. Just type it in, NARC. Type it into Apple, Google Play, it'll pop right up. We're here every Thursday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Monday nights, we're inside the NARC app from 8:15 to 9:15. Nope, sorry, scratch that. 9:30 to 10:30, Monday nights, Eastern Time, inside the NARC app. 8:15 to 9:15, inside the NARC app, is our monthly coaching. So we got monthly coaching coming up here. This Monday, Bree's going to be speaking. Abuse is Abuse, talking about her story and also like what she's done to help heal and grow and change herself. If you guys haven't had a chance, you need to go on there. You need to like sign up. If you don't sign up, you don't get the link, like because this is a Zoom link. This is one of the cool parts about the community and like the monthly thing is you get the Zoom link and you get to come together with other people, see other people face to face. Wanda, it is Wanda. So Bree's name is Wanda. Gosh, I was like, why does she keep saying Wanda? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Sorry, that's funny. Completely blank. No, it like fits her, at least before it turns to like the Red Witch. But anyways. I forgot what I was saying because yeah. So anyways, Monday will be there. Carlene, awesome. I'll see you Wednesday. Glad you did your homework. We'll talk. Monday night, go to the NARC app, premium supporter, click on the monthly Zoom call, sign up, be able to interact with other people that are survivors, are getting through it, are getting out of it, see people face to face, talk to them, share a little bit of your story, make connections, build that community where you can interact, talk to different people. You can interact on the NARC app. You can respond to people's comments. You can respond, give advice. You can talk to them, share your story, all different types of things like that. Monday night, join that. After that, we still go live, 9:30. Oh yeah, it doesn't have the time. Sorry, Honeysuckle, Honeysuckle at Lakewood, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina, 3 p.m., 3 to 6. We'll figure out what we're doing afterwards, but at least 3 to 6, we'll be there. Thank you for saying that. I need to put that up. NARC app there. Wednesday night, we'll be back on Facebook, YouTube. Thank you all for being here. We'll be back on Wednesday night. Myself and Lee Hammock will be on my channel this week. So come out to be able to see myself and Lee, Mental Healness, just answer some questions, be able to see us interact, have a good time, and all. And then we'll be back here with all 5 platforms. Hello, 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 hello. I'll be back here with all 5 platforms next Thursday night, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Any other random questions about any of that? About any of the updates or anything? So make sure. Touch and base. Absolutely. You're welcome. Excited to see some people coming. Like it's crazy. That's crazy. I just saw your comment in TikTok. So we got someone in the chat that's driving from Chicago to North Carolina. Someone emailed me the other day. They're driving their motorcycle down from Michigan. Lee texted me earlier. There's someone that sent them their flight info that they're flying from Los Angeles. 3 p.m. Eastern. Well, obviously, because it'd be in Durham. 3 p.m. July. All right. So July. Brittany, you're driving from Austin, Texas? Have you told Lee yet? He'll be excited. I'm excited. That's pretty cool. Bring your mother-in-law. We'll slap some sense into her. No, I'm just kidding. That's the narc kind of life. Anyways, July 23rd, Durham, North Carolina, Honeysuckle at Lakewood, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Guys, it started off as a meet and greet. We did a meet and greet in Virginia. We're doing a meet and greet in North Carolina. Honestly, we've already been talking. It's going to be a meet and greet, but there's probably going to be a time in it where we're actually going to like pause the meet and greet and actually like talk or like speak, if you want to say. It's not official. We haven't like confirmed anything. But yeah, that's actually going to be in there from what we've already talked about. How this one goes is going to dictate how the next one goes, is going to dictate what's coming next as far as either courses or books. That's all on one side. But the next kind of thing that's kind of like in the back of our minds that we've been talking about already is like the idea of like an actual workshop, in person and virtual, that we'd be able to host, to be able to help people break free from abuse, break free from trauma bonds, work through of like how is their vision and values, like where are they going forward. And like we're talking about like multiple creators on this platform. Like just alone, when Lee calculated up all of his followers on all platforms, it's 2 million followers. We've got 16 people, 16 Narc Avengers that I don't even, like, I'd have to, like, it'd be crazy to calculate up. I know for, like, myself personally on all platforms, I'm, like, around, like, 170,000 people. So, like, just mine of being, like, a smaller platform, like, there's, like, millions of people that are being impacted by this. So we're super excited. Super Sloth, where do you live? Are you in Canada? Probably in Canada. But anyways, we're super excited. I'm predicting, so the first one was in Virginia, right near me, and that was 30 to 35 people that showed up. This one in July, I'm predicting 100. I was going to say 80 to 100, but like, why limit it? Like, there's going to be 100 people that show up July 23rd. Like, we're going to run out of room. That's the goal. Okay? Be there. July 23rd, Honeysuckle at Lakewood, Durham, North Carolina, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I don't know what's going on afterwards. We might hang out there just late. Maybe we'll all go out to eat. I don't know. But that's what's happening. Super excited. If you haven't had a chance, download the Narc app. Healthy Dating After Abuse, new course that's on there. But anyways, if y'all want to talk sometime, rawmotivations.com. Help you through the trauma bond, rumination, or set those boundaries. Anyways, y'all been awesome. Y'all been great. If you guys are getting a chance to watch this, check out YouTube. YouTube, thanks for being a peach. YouTube, if anybody's on, like, reach out to me sometime. I could use some mods for YouTube. Just throwing it out there. If you guys have been around some tonight, you saw some of the nice spammers that come on to give the obvious stuff. But yeah. Anyways, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, if you're out there. If you're out there, call out sometime, because I haven't seen anybody from Twitter, because I don't really use my Twitter. I didn't even know I had one, but it's connected, so it's whatever. Anyways, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, y'all have a great night. Thanks so much for being here.